are goblins, including spears, any good in patch 6.0.3. The tooltip goes back to ancient times. The spear is a solid weapon, piercing and defensive. Goblins, however, well, the spear unit acts as a proper spear unit now. How do we account for this? I guess the only way to view it is like this. They fixed the gobbo part. We'll review the non-spear version as well because it's good to know what your totally expendable fodder is capable of. Recruited for 300 gold and 75 upkeep, the decidedly overpriced goblin infantry... Okay, I may be overstating it, but you're going to think that's a lot of money. Gets you 160 gobble entities on ultra scale with 8,960 health between them. Armor is 25 with shields that block 35% of small arms fire from the front. It used to be more, but stay tuned about that. Leadership is 50. You might be surprised by this, but 50 isn't even that bad considering the nature of the unit. Speed 33 and charge speed 40 aren't horrific by any stretch. Melee attack, and this is for the non-spears version, begins at 24 with an attack interval of 4.3, which is mildly slow but equal to a lot of early infantry in the game. No splash damage. Melee defense is also 24 to start. Weapon strength 26 is split base 20 and armor piercing 6. Charge bonus is 12 and mass is 90. The unit can hide in forest and is expendable to other greenskins unless the units are also expendable. So what about the spears? Recruited for 325 gold and 81 upkeep, everything is the same until we hit melee attack. As in, entities, health, leadership, speed, armor, and shields are the same. Melee attack 18 is paired with melee defense 28. Weapon strength 23 is split between base 23 and armor piercing 6. So the AP amount is not less than the regulars. However, there is a bonus versus large of 9. Considering how lowly the unit is, 9 isn't terrible. Melee attack 27 versus Centaurs, with a proportional boost to damage at weapon strength 32, could be a lot worse, considering, it's 160 entities. Moreover, the unit has charge defense versus large and charge reflection, despite being gobbos. This is a relatively recent change and means even goblins can shut off your flanks. In the redline skills, the gobbos, what else, offers melee attack plus 6 and melee defense plus 6 at 3 pips, and that's actually a pretty shocking level of boosting all things considered. Sneaky Stabbers helps ranked 7 gobbos have their usual benefits of plus 5 leadership, plus 12% weapon strength, and the situational but still welcome 10% physical resistance. In the tech tree, Tough Fodder of course offers armor plus 10 and melee defense plus 3, not wasted, and More Grub offers leadership plus 5 and upkeep minus 5%, which is very welcome. And it's also a lot less than people are used to seeing from Skarsnik's side, so I'm noting that I feel your pain. Note there is a late game tech which allows goblin units, all of them, to have Vanguard deployment. For scrap upgrades, full disclosure, I literally flubbed the Control plus F when I was looking for the right tech for Night Goblins. They use the upgraded version, Spiky Bits. Spiky Bits is for regular goblins. This doesn't require a tech, but does require 50 scrap, which is no small cost, and for your trouble, armor piercing becomes plus 3 per strike. That's with both versions. So the spear versions will do 9 AP before anti-large bonus applies to appropriate targets. The other upgrade applying to both of them is padded shields, last seen for orc boys. This doesn't require a tech either, and for 20 scrap, you can get the namesake passive, and while leadership holds, that's armor plus 15 and missile block chance plus 30%, for a total of 65% from the front, which is even better than the old gobbo shields. This means, yes, even early on, you can make your goblins killier, but making them into brutal missile tar pits is ridiculously easy. You should consider this option, it's immensely disruptive to enemy ranged factions. So how do we use the goblin units? Well, the now default unit is probably going to be treated as truly expendable, the first into combat and the first to be demolished, though it's actually more defensive than orc boys, except for the health. And separate from that, except in the sense of not having poison, the base unit is absolutely no worse than night goblins on defense, and only lags a little behind in offense for 75% of the cost. The spears version is obviously immensely more defensive, able to frustrate and aggravate cavalry of most types. Basically, even though the total unit health is less, you should think of goblins as a clearly less offensive and less aggressive unit, more for keeping the entirely competent goblin archers intact, or Arab boys of course, than for resolving fights with pure offense. but just the fact they trade this well with Skaven slaves or skeleton warriors and spearmen should make them usable as part of your forces, and if nothing else, they'll earn WA points just fine. One unit in melee counts as much as any other. I haven't dwelled on Lord buffs because they tend to be faction specific or better handled in Lord videos, but while the numbers have changed, Goblin tied from Goblin Great Shamans still helps stiffen the spines of your Goblin forces, including these units. Overall, you're just accepting a more ordinary level of offensive output in favor of superior tar pitting until morale breaks. If you can buff up that morale, you're shoring up one of the main weaknesses you would have otherwise had. And another way is to slap in a Black Orc Big Boss. Taking out fear and terror issues around him helps immensely. Take care and have fun drowning the other races in Goblin numbers. Quantity has a quality all its own, as they say.